The fuck, Rob? This is your fault.
I'm an idiot. Welcome back to the show. I'm Rob here with Mike and Joe. This is the Hogs, Hops, and Hope podcast. Hot takes, cold beers, zero credentials. Well, guys, again, we should not be surprised. We all, I'll just say, knew Washington was going to lose.
Yep.
And lose they did. The final score was 38-14. I don't think the game was that close, quite honestly. And I mean, Jayden's out. I mean, that's I mean, screw the stats. There's only one thing that really matters coming out of this game. Jayden dislocated his elbow. He's obviously not going to play this coming weekend against Detroit. And for some reason, the team has not put him on injured reserve. So I guess we should start off with, I mean, obviously you guys are watching. I'm assuming you're watching the games. But
For now.
when they're driving down the field, they're losing 38-7. It's halfway through the fourth quarter. They're down near the Seahawks goal line. You know, you're thinking, okay, they'll get a useless touchdown just to kind of pad somebody's stats somewhere. And Jayden scrambles because Jayden's Jayden. That's what I keep hearing. Jayden's Jayden. This is what he does. And he dislocates his elbow. Joe, I'll ask you first. What were your initial thoughts when you saw that? You saw he was down.
Actually, I thought he broke his arm. When it first happened, I was like, oh my God, he broke his arm. That's the end of it. And then I watched the replay and I was like, oh, that looked bad.
Yeah.
As far as him, you know, what's that?
What's that, Mike?
The dislocated elbow feels worse than a broken arm.
Yeah.
You know this from experience?
Nasty looking.
I've never broken anything, so I don't know what that feeling is.
I just mean like a clean break. I don't know. They put some screws in there. They're back out there.
Some duct tape. You're fine.
Yeah, they patch that up real quick. Dislocated elbow. I don't know. That seems worse. Like tendons, ligaments, shit like that gets messed up.
Well, I imagine it's like a dislocated shoulder. We know that. I mean, that's not an uncommon injury in sports. I mean, so Mike, what did you think? I mean,
I thought I've seen this story before. Didn't like how it ended last time. Felt a lot like RG3.
Okay. Well, so on that note, since I was so distraught over the whole Jayden thing, we skipped the hops part of the show. So yeah, sometimes I'm just a little shook, and I haven't really even started drinking. So
yeah, look, we're running out of hope. Let's not get the hops part out of this.
Yeah, we can't run out of hops because this is all that's going to carry us through. Mike, you want to lead us off tonight?
Yeah, sure. I'm doing my standard Yingling.
Okay.
You know, didn't have time to go out and get something else. So
yeah, these things happen. Life. Joe, what you got?
So I went and found something new. I got a Mill Creek Brewing Company, Little Darlin', and it is a citrus-infused wheat beer.
Mill Creek. Did you ever have a beer from there before?
I don't remember. I'll have to look back at my photos, but it's Williamson County, Tennessee's largest brewery.
Okay. All right. Well, I went back to Lagunitas beer. This is a little something something because that's what this team needs right now is a little something something. 7.5 alcohol for those keeping score at home. It is a nice little just regular IPA that does the trick. Well, I'm watching the game and I see that play. And first of all, I thought to myself, that's not good. And then it was screaming, Why the fuck was he in the game?
Yeah.
And I'm going to try and give Dan Quinn a little bit of credit, but I mean, I know it's weird coming from me.
Yeah, I'm intrigued.
So we remember a couple weeks ago that Denver dropped what 33 points in the fourth quarter against the Giants and came back to beat them. And that included the Giants actually scoring during that time as well. When that drive started, there were about 12 minutes left in the game. So being down 38-7 with 12 minutes, you know, did I think they were going to come back and win? No. But was there still an opportunity to make it a game? Maybe, which is
In
why I say
theory,
I give
not
Dan Quinn a little bit of credit. Like, but you got your franchise player who's already dealt with 2 injuries this year,
Yeah.
and you have him in a game. It's 38-7, and your team has played like shit. Not just that game, but the last couple of games, and you're leaving him in. There should have been no starters in at that point. Let's find out what the young guys got. Let's find out what the backup players have, because this team is in disarray.
It is. So, okay, I agree. And I could make the argument that it doesn't matter if they're down 100 to 4-7, whatever it is. You keep your guys playing because you need to try to find something not for this game, but for the season. I could make that argument if Jayden had not had previous injury issues. I
Right.
just think the safe play was get him out of there for that game. But I mean, I understand the idea though of it's not just about this game. It's let these guys. Although, who does he really have? Like we have so many people injured at this point. Just write the season off. I mean, honestly.
well, now we definitely need to write the season off because even with Jayden's injury, there's still 2 other injuries with their being out for the season, with Luke McCaffrey
Yep.
breaking his collarbone and
Yeah.
Lattimore tearing his ACL.
Yep.
And I disagree with you guys. I didn't have a problem with him playing. And it wasn't like, I mean, if we have our flashback to RG3, there was a time in that game where he already had a lingering knee issue. He was wearing the brace, and then he tweaked it a little bit. And as soon as he tweaked it, that's when I was saying, get RG3 out of the game. Well, this injury was not related to his leg injuries that he already had. So
Sure.
this was a freak accident. And it was the way he came down, the way his hand planted, and the way his momentum and popped his elbow out. It wasn't related to his previous injuries. Yes, I, you couldn't see it coming. It's not like it was, him hobbling around or something like that. And it's like, oh my God, get him off the field. It was just, it was a football play and it happened.
But
And
this is
I think he should be playing. Like, he's paid to play, entertain us. That's his job. So I didn't have a problem with him being in there. And, obviously looking back, it's like, well, shit, we definitely should have pulled him because of this injury, but who knew that was going to happen?
Well, Dan Quinn, first of all, now I'm going to dump on Dan Quinn because his response after the game was, well, yeah, I'm bummed this happened. Yeah, fuck you. You're bummed. Shut the hell up. But he said in the press conferences, I think this week, that he was going to pull them, the starters, Jayden, whomever, after that drive. And it's easy to go back and second guess, hindsight, all that fun stuff. But and Joe, I understand what you're saying. Yes, he's a player. He's supposed to be doing this, but sometimes you have to look big picture and not just a single game. And Jayden's had 2 previous injuries, one of which, what was his hamstring? Those things can be re-injured like that. So let's not put him in positions where he can re-injure himself. Forget the freak accident. I'm not saying taking him out because you're afraid of a freak accident. Take him out so we can save. He has a little bit more time to recover because he's had injuries that can flare back up. And now he's got another one where, I imagine that a dislocated elbow is like a dislocated shoulder. Once someone has a dislocated shoulder, it's very easy to dislocate it again. And now it's just not a throwing arm, so it's not as big a deal. But still, if he dislocates it, he's got to come out of it like So I think I tried to give Dan Quinn a little bit of credit. I wasn't saying that he was right. Dan Quinn was wrong. Jayden Daniels should have never been in that position, because look at the start of the game. He was running for his life from the very beginning. Mm-hmm. He was scrambling right off the bat, run after run after run, scramble after scramble after scramble. These were not called runs. They were scrambles. And you have to, as a coach, protect your player from himself. And Dan Quinn didn't do that.
Which is my other frustration with this game, and we're seeing it. We saw it a lot last season where Jayden would make things happen, and it worked out last year. But again, not to draw a comparison repeatedly, but RG3, it was the same thing. The team wasn't great around him, so he would try to make things happen, and that's kind of shit that got him injured, and that's what happened here. So that's my frustration, is Jayden ended up getting hurt because he was trying to do it all on his own because the rest of the fucking team wasn't there.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is this is where him being a second-year player shows. He needs to learn. It's like, quarterback needs to know when you take the sack, when it's appropriate to take the sack, or when, just throw the ball away and forget the down. He has to learn when he should not run. And because he's going to put himself, and I get it, he's competitive. This is who he is. I'm sick and tired of hearing that. I know who he is. We all know who he is at this point. But he's gonna get hurt, and he did.
He's got to do a better job of protecting himself. Like he keeps diving forward instead of sliding on his hip, and then even on that play, I mean, I broke my arm once by putting my arm down to brace myself, and it's like he put his arm down to brace himself. Tuck it in, land on your body. Your body can take the ground hit rather than your arm and your extremities. Yeah. He doesn't protect himself well.
Well, he does a good job of running out of bounds on scrambles.
Yes, that's true.
Trying to take a hit, and get the extra 2 yards or whatever. So I do want to give him credit for that.
That's true.
But he's trying to make things happen. And again, you have to learn time and a place. And when you're 3-5 or whatever, and you're down 31 points late in the fourth quarter, that's not the time to try and make things happen. Not in a game like this, when I know the team won't ever say it. We've said it. The season's over. So what are you trying to do? Win another Rookie of the Week award, something? Even though he's not a rookie, but
not a rookie anymore. So
yeah, that's what I said.
Yes,
speaking of rookies, where the hell is Bill? Like, he hasn't been doing anything for us the last few weeks.
Well, are they even trying to run the ball?
Not really.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, granted, well, Bill and Chris Rodriguez both had 12 carries.
Yeah, they did
in the game.
For how many yards?
Bill had 38. Rodriguez had 65.
All right, 65 is respectable, but 38.
He had some good. There was a period there where I was like, wow, Chris is he's doing it. He's pounding out to get the extra yards. And
was he going against the second string defense though at that point?
Probably by then, yeah. I don't remember when it was.
And this whole
I didn't
thing
even know they swapped out.
Yeah, they did. And the whole thing of using Debo as a running back, he had 1 rush for 3 yards. Like, he's supposed to be your Swiss Army knife. Well, that's not very much of a Swiss thing.
Every time I see him in motion, the ball comes to him. It's like even the defenses would see that too. So Debo's in motion, just cover up. Him.
I mean, yeah, you have to. If you're good enough, you'll do that happen. Granted, so this kind of fitting since at halftime they retired Art Monk's 81 during this game, which is, great performance for him there at the game. Sonny Jurgensen used to comment on third down, if you saw Art Monk go in motion, the pass was going to him every time. And sure enough, it did. So, okay, Art Monk, maybe he's a little better than Deebo Samuel different times, but, but yeah, I don't even know where to go with this team. I don't even know what to talk about because they go through this whole thing. All right, great. So, Joe, you mentioned McCaffrey's now on injured reserve. He's out for the season. Lattimore, injured reserve, out for the season. Of course, as soon as I heard that, I did make the comment, well, maybe the secondary is better now. But we got all these players on injured reserve. And again, Jayden's not on injured reserve yet. If this team is expecting him to play again this season, then everyone should be fired. Adam Peters should be fired. Dan Quinn should be fired. Joe Witt should be fired. Cliff Kingsbury should be fired. There is no way Jayden Daniels should see the field because what I read is minimum 4 to 6 weeks that he'd be out. So if you look at that, we got a bye week in there. So we've played 9 games, right? We're 3-6. Kind of lost track, maybe because I don't want to care. So 6 weeks from now, that's 5 more games. That's 14 games. You'd have 3 games left. You're going to bring him back for 3 games? Because here's the thing. If there was a reason, if you thought you were going to make the playoffs at that point, it's because of Marcus Mariota, and I'm not taking him out of the game at that point because he would have just saved the season. So why would I make a change? So Jayden should be on injured reserve, and he should have been on this week. But I guess they're getting another opinion, whatever that means. I mean, I know what it means, but you know what I mean. I know what I mean. I know what they meant. So I don't want to get to the point because we're just halfway through the freaking season of talking about the off season and the draft and things like that. I don't want to go there yet.
The off season was so long. We waited for this season to start for so long. We were so excited.
We can't start the off season now.
And 5 weeks in, we were already thinking, shit, the season's over.
So, all right. So here's one thing we can briefly chat about. So the trade deadline. So we're recording this on Thursday. We missed Wednesday due to technical difficulties. And no, it's not because I forgot to. Well, it's whatever. Technical difficulties. It's like when people used to poop in the pool. It was called a hygienic mishap. Whatever. Work with me here.
But okay.
So it's Thursday. The trade deadline was Tuesday. Washington did not make any moves. Now, we all, I think we agreed that they shouldn't and they probably wouldn't make any moves, but we wouldn't be surprised if they maybe traded some, or we thought maybe they should trade some of the 1-year contract guys, which would have been about half the roster. So you really can't trade half your roster, but
well, half of the roster's injured. The other half is on.
Those guys are injured. Yeah.
So.
We're going to trade you 7 injured guys whose contract is up at the end of the year. Can you give us a 7th round draft pick?
Isn't that what the Saints did to us with Lattimore last year? Was it the Saints?
It was the Saints, and Lattimore was injured.
Yeah, we traded for an injured player.
We traded for an injured player. We sure did. And he missed a couple of weeks right off the bat. And then was yeah, I forget exactly how many, but yeah.
It felt like forever.
But they said that was they said at the time that the trade wasn't for the then, it was for the later. It was, they had a chance to get a player that they thought could contribute because it was part of the whole.
For the latter?
Yeah, it was
Lattimore? Never mind. God damn it. If I have to explain it, it's not worth it. Like,
Wasn't that good.
I'm only halfway through my beer. The team, because of the early success last season and because Jayden was playing out of this world, that's part of the reason they made that trade was because they thought, well, here we can speed up the rebuilding process, even though they won't call it a rebuild process. They thought they could speed it up, and that's part of the reason why they traded for Debo. That's part of the reason they traded for Tunsil. But you know, it obviously is not working. It hasn't worked. The trade for Tunsil, one of the things that I was told by those with credentials was that that would create a trickle-down effect, and we talked about this a couple of different times, a trickle-down effect for the offensive line, because you could move Coleman to guard, and you'd get Cosme back, and then they drafted Connerly, and you're thinking, oh, okay, this is great. Well, that hasn't played out because, well, they fucking benched Coleman. And the only reason he's seen any playing time is because Tunsil was hurt. So, but anyway, so the trade deadline, nothing happened. It was funny listening to a couple people. Tunsil was someone they thought should have been traded potentially because so Tunsil has one more year on his contract. And there's no guarantee that he re-signs with Washington. I got into a couple arguments with people online about this. Everyone's like, well, next year they'll re-sign Tunsil and they'll re-sign Debo and this and this and this. And I was like, well, how do you know these things? Like, what if someone offers Tunsil $20 million more guaranteed than Washington offers him? He'll jump. I mean, if someone offered me $20 million more guaranteed, there's a good chance I would jump. But so no trade, not even someone for a 7th round pick. So, we're going to go into the draft next year with scratch that because I said we weren't going to talk about the draft. This team sucks.
Yeah, they do.
This was a really gut punch this year.
Well, this is look. I was gonna try and surprise you guys, and I'm glad I didn't follow through on it. Of booking a trip to Madrid for us to go see Jayden play in Madrid, because the NFL.
Because that would have been a giant waste of money after this.
How hard is the NFL kicking themselves right now? Because they put Washington in all these primetime games, these national games, and they have stunk the joint up. The game against Detroit this upcoming weekend was supposed to be the game of the week. It no longer is. They don't have the number one broadcast team. They don't have Kevin Burkhardt and Tom Brady anymore. I mean, you're sending a Washington team with half its players out, including pretty much all of its stars, to Madrid to play the Dolphins.
Yep.
So I kind of want to chuckle at the NFL for doing that, because it's like the NFL drank the Kool-Aid that Washington was going to be great this year. Now, I know we all said double-digit wins, but
to be fair, they like to highlight people. It's less about the team. So Jayden, big star, whatever. If he wasn't hurt, it wouldn't be as bad for them. But now the Commanders going to Madrid with no Jayden against the Dolphins. Who's getting up early enough to watch, or not getting up, but I guess what, 9:30 my, well, that's early for your time.
The kickoff is 6:30 in the morning for me.
Yeah, but still, who's watching football 9:30 in the morning on a Sunday on the East Coast, 6:30 in the West Coast for that?
But
game?
Damn well there's going to be a lot of people who are going to get up and watch that game.
Yeah.
I'm excited about the brunch. I'm already trying to figure out a menu and drinks and I don't care about the football game.
Well, I Honestly, I don't know if I'm going to get up and watch it. Uh, I may record it and then just wake up when I wake up and watch the game and stay off of social media so I can't see any news about it and watch it that way. Uh,
What
because
channel is it going to be on?
I don't
Is it
know.
the NFL Network?
I don't know yet.
Hmm.
I don't even know if that information is available, quite honestly. What is that? Week 12, week 13?
Something like that.
Something like that. Week 12 is our bye week, right?
Manager's Dolphins game will be in Spain. It'll be on the NFL Network. So if you don't even have a cable package with the NFL Network, you can't even watch it.
There you go.
I don't even know if I have that. Is that something else that's been kicked off of YouTube TV?
Maybe.
I don't know. I think you're good. I think you have that.
Okay, well, as long as I keep YouTube TV, because, well, that's,
Right.
Because ESPN, Disney. So, yeah, so side note, Disney, ABC, ESPN, not on YouTube TV.
Yep.
So no Monday Night Football for me, unless it's on ABC and I can watch it with the digital antenna. And I'm borderline canceling YouTube TV for now, but that's a whole nother thing. So the other news that happened this week was, I forget what day it came out, maybe Tuesday, that Frankie Louvu was suspended for one game for his third hip drop tackle of the season, which when you watch the replays, pretty much everybody, with the exception of, I guess, 3 people in the NFL office, said that the tackle was not a hip drop tackle. But the NFL decided in their infinite wisdom to suspend Frankie Louvu for one game. He filed an appeal. He had an appeal with Derek Brooks in the NFL office. So there's three people that you can have an appeal with in the NFL office if you're appealing a suspension. Derek Brooks is one of them. And for anybody who doesn't know, Derek Brooks was an All-Pro linebacker for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He may be in the Hall of Fame. I'm not quite sure about that, but he was an All-Pro. He was one of the best linebackers when he played, and that's who Frankie's appeal process went through. And thankfully, Derek Brooks showed some intelligence, and he rescinded the one-game suspension, but did fine Frankie for $100,000. And that may seem like a lot of money, but to Frankie, if he had been suspended for a game, he would have lost one game pay, which is like $500,000 or $600,000. So, he's got a couple extra grand in his pocket now that he might have lost, and he still gets to play against Detroit, and yay, because that'll make all the difference in the world. Actually, you know what's going to make all the difference in the world against Detroit? This is the other news. See, there's so much news this week. It's a good thing we waited till Thursday. This is the big news. This is the news that is going to change the season for Washington. This is what's going to make the team do a 180, and we won't have to worry about a team going from 12-5 to 5-12.
Uh-huh.
I know you guys are like, what now? Go ahead. What do you got?
I'm on the edge of my seat.
Okay. Well, you pay for the whole seat, but you only use the edge. Joe Witt, the defensive coordinator, is going to move out of the coach's box and now going to be down on the field. So, season saved. And what I love about this is Joe Witt came out and he said, I asked to do this. The players told me they wanted me on the field.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go down to the field. Yeah, because that happened.
Yeah.
So they had to dumb down the defensive playbook for everybody because they were overthinking everything, which didn't help. And now they're going to move Joe Witt down to the field to improve communication.
So weirdly, one article I read on that said it was for Dan Quinn to keep a closer eye on him and what he was doing. So
Why does Dan Quinn need to keep a closer eye on him? Dan Quinn has said he hears every call in his headset. How much closer do you need to be on what's being called when you hear everything that's being called?
I'm just saying.
All right. So got Detroit this week. Washington is an 8.5-point underdog, which blows my mind. I don't know how it's like. Take the points, man. I would have expected this to be 10 or 12 points, quite honestly. But again, don't take our advice on betting.
Remember, 0 credentials.
We know nothing. So the only other thing I have to talk about is it's been interesting to me this week. So those with credentials and the true fans online. Everybody wants Joe Witt fired, but he's not going to be fired because he's going to finish out the season. Now, what may happen after the season is another thing. But I've actually starting to hear people turn on Dan Quinn and Adam Peters. In that, Dan Quinn, he leaves his franchise player in a blowout game in a situation that he should not be in. And obviously the team is not performing this year and nothing's changing. This isn't just we got a 4-game losing streak now. Is that where we are? And the team really hasn't played that well this year at all, with the exception of the Giants game and maybe the Chargers game. We got another win. Oakland. Oakland, Vegas, whatever, Raiders.
Yeah. Vegas, the Raiders. They played well against the Raiders.
Okay.
Didn't they?
Did they? We don't even know.
Yeah, I don't remember that. I guess.
There were oh geez. Come on, guys. What kind of fans are we?
Those that drink beer and have no credentials.
Yeah, the Raiders game was 41-24. We beat the crap out of them after we lost to the Packers.
Yeah,
but it's the Raiders.
More doesn't mean we played well.
Yeah, that doesn't mean we played well.
It looked like we played well because we scored so many points.
Okay.
Well, don't judge a book by its cover or something. Don't go home at 2 with a 10 and wake up at 10 with a 2.
Good advice.
Uh-huh.
So, but people are starting to question Dan Quinn and his coaching and Adam Peters because they're the ones who built this team. And I realize it's only been 2 years. And yeah, we have to recover from the Ron Rivera disaster. That's the only way to describe those 4 years. But and look, you can't control injuries. I get that. No one can control that. But this team being 3-6 is not all injuries. So you have to start why is that? And you point at Dan Quinn and Adam Peters. And we're going to have to rebuild the roster again because of all the 1-year contracts, and it's the oldest roster in the league. But I found it interesting that people were starting to turn a little bit on these guys because I won't speak for you all, but when Dan Quinn was hired, I questioned the hire because to me he was just Ron Rivera. And Adam Peters, I didn't know enough about him to question it, but I did raise some flags that what had he done, and he's never run the show until now, and where's this depth that we were supposed to have? The defensive line was supposed to be filled with depth. Well, I realize they've had injuries, but where's the depth? Isn't that why you have depth? And so I don't know.
So let me ask this, because it felt like when they picked up Jayden, we were in the typical like we're gonna rebuild. And somewhere last season, it became a gotta win now mentality. We got to Jayden was doing well, capitalized, got to win now. So now we're sitting on all these 1-year contracts, oldest team in the league, all of that. It feels like a lot of what they've done is on that win quick, capitalize on Jayden's rookie contract, blah, blah,
Yep.
blah. I
Yep.
get it. And I'm not saying it was the wrong approach, maybe, but certainly doesn't feel good now. It doesn't look right now. So do they need to take a step back and actually look at we got to rebuild? And it's not this season. Obviously, this season's done, and we're not going to win the Super Bowl next season. And so do we start building, get that depth, get those younger guys, get the, things like that? Is it time to pivot to that?
Joe, you got any thoughts on that? I mean, I got a lot of thoughts, but Joe, I'll give you a chance to go first.
Yes. Well, I'm a man of few words tonight. Yeah, I think I think that seems to be what we need to do right now, because I think you're absolutely right, Mike, that it was this mentality of like we got to win right now, hence 1-year contracts, and it's like, well, that the team wasn't set up. Like we didn't have all these marquee players and all this. You were trying to patch a whole bunch of holes with 1-year people just to get through the season, and it was a miracle season last year. That's what it was. That's all it was.
That's
And
all
now
it was.
the truth is, yeah, and now the truth is
Yes.
plain as day. This is what we're dealing with, where it's like we got a bunch of 1-year contracts of some, mismatch and miss, the island of misfit toys, and we got nothing to show for it.
So I go back to, and I've brought this up with people, and they tell me it doesn't matter. And I realize we have a new owner now and all this, but if you go back and you look at this team, and you go back to, I'll go back to 1999. They won the division that year. They were 10-6. And the next year, they took a step back. They were 8-8, and they finished third in the division. In 2005, they finished second in the division, went to the playoffs. They were 10-6. In 2006, they took a step back. They were fourth in the division. They were 5-11. The next year, 2007, they made the playoffs again, granted third in the division, but they made the playoffs. But then the next 4 seasons after that, 8 wins, 4 wins, 6 wins, 5 wins, fourth place in the division each one of those years. That takes us through 2011. 2012, which is the season, Mike, you're the one that first one that brought it up tonight. Won the division, 10-6. What happened the following year? Fourth place in the division, 3-13. 2014, 4 wins. Okay, great. So we had a reset. So then you go to 2015. We got a new GM. It's Jay Gruden's second season. They win the division, 9-7. Great. But then what happened after that? The next 3 seasons, they finished third in the division, 8 wins, 7 wins, 7 wins. And then in 2019, they actually finished last in the division with 3 wins. And that got Jay Gruden out the door. Well, then 2020, Ron Rivera comes in. What happens? Yeah, they went 7-9, but somehow they won the freaking division, being 7-9. But then what happened in 2021? Third in the division. Granted, they still won 7 games again, but now they're third in the division. 2022, fourth in the division. 2023, fourth in the division. 4 wins that year. So they'll go from first to last, whatever, to second. We're in that same thing. You can change the owner, you can change the GM, you can change the coach, but The team went 12-5 last year. They were second in the division. They went to the NFC Championship game. And what's going to happen this year? They're sitting on 3 wins, and right now, I think they'll be lucky to hit 5 wins for the season.
So
and so this becomes, they talk about not wanting to waste Jayden Daniels' rookie contract. Mike, you said it. It was all the talk, right? But what did they do to not waste it? They didn't go out and trade or sign free agents, a big free agent or something like that, with this cap room that they're supposed to have because Jayden's on a rookie contract. That didn't happen. What was the big play? Samuel for 1 year. Tunsil hasn't signed an extension. Lattimore hadn't signed an extension. What was the big play? What are we saving on Jayden's contract? Nothing. And so now this year, and again, I realize a big part of it is injuries. This has become a wasted year. And in next year, Mike, you I don't know if you meant to say it or not. You said they're not going to win the Super Bowl next year. Right now,
I meant to say it, yeah.
But next year is kind of going to be a repeat of this year because you've wasted this, and either you're going to have another 20-player turnover, or you're going to have all these people come back. Well, potentially, because that's all the free agents we're going to have.
Yeah, we've got 20, whatever it is, 1-year contracts. We've got a bunch of people whose contracts are going to be up at the end of this year.
And then you have to deal with Tunsil. Even though he has 1 year left after this year, is he going to hold out? Is he going to pull a Terry and hold out because he wants a contract? So again, we're going to have plenty of time to talk about next year. I didn't mean to jump into that, but all the stuff they said they were doing for this year, they're not even doing. And if I go back to when Adam Peters came in and he says, we're going to build by the draft. That was his big thing. We're going to build by the draft. We'll fill in some places here and there, which you should. You fill in the little holes with free agency, and that's great. But they're down on draft picks for next season. The free agents they're signing are for 1 freaking year. You have to keep refilling the holes.
Right.
I don't know. I just need to ramble about that.
This is our new segment called the most depressing 10 minutes of your 5 minutes of your day.
We don't need to do this right now. There's plenty of time coming up in the future to worry about the off season.
Okay.
Let's look ahead to this week when we play the Detroit Lions.
No, let's not. No, see, now it's the second most depressing 5 minutes of your day.
All right. So they
I'm out of beer, guys. Like this can't.
Okay, so we're gonna wrap this up. Don't worry. We didn't even really talk about last week. I know I only got a little bit left. Thank God for 19-ounce beers.
What do you want to talk about? Last week sucked. Let's move on.
We're moving on from last week. We have Detroit this week. Detroit's coming to town, as I mentioned. So obviously, I don't like to speak for you all, but would it be fair to say that none of us think Washington's going to win this week?
Yeah, that's fair to say.
Yeah, I'd say that's fair.
And we're not thinking it's one of those random things where suddenly something might just happen and Mariota throws for 400 yards and Detroit's offense suddenly can't find the end zone.
Obviously, that could happen, but it's not going to. Not for us, not this year.
Okay. Anything weird can happen, especially this year. So I'm not going to rule that out. But yeah, no, I'd be shocked.
Okay. All right. 8.5 points. Washington going to cover 8.5 points?
No,
probably not.
Probably not. I agree. Okay. Well, that sums that up then. So to recap, last week's game sucked against the Seahawks. There's more injuries, just more people go. I mean, we got an all-pro team on injured reserve right now, I think. It's pretty good. And Terry's out this week as well, I believe, against the Lions.
I think so.
Yeah, he should have been put on injury reserve a couple weeks ago as well. So yeah, and they're not going to win this week, and then they have what's after? Then it's the Miami game. There's the
Dolphins game where there's a chance they could win that one. But we'll talk about that next week. Let's leave some hope for next week. Let's see how many people let's see how many players get injured this week and who we have left on the roster to actually play.
Right.
We have to leave some hope for next week because we're all out of hops for tonight.
That's right. There you go.
All right. Anything else you guys want to throw out for tonight then?
God, no.
All right. Well, then, as always, we appreciate the two of you that watch every week. Thank you very much. Remember to click subscribe for you new viewers who just happen to stumble upon us randomly and you're like, what the hell did I find? Leave a comment or something. We're still on Spotify and Apple Podcasts if you want to find us there. Although the rate we're going, that might not last too much longer either. And we'll see you next week when we talk about the loss to the Detroit Lions. Thanks always for watching. Bye.
See ya.
I'm dealing with one stupidity at a time here.